I'm so pleased to be here with you. My name is Lucy Chamberlain, and I'm here to talk to you all about personal branding. Now, I know that you know we have a joint responsibility to really lift this profession up, and we share that together. And through personal branding, I promise you that we can make a huge leap forward as an industry to get the recognition, the respect, and build this incredible community because together we rise. Now, personal branding has become, I think, much more prevalent over the last few years, and it's something that if we all embrace our purpose, vision, values, and mission, we are going to make such huge strides towards future-proofing our role, as well as making sure that it's held in the regard it so richly deserves to be. Now, whether you know it or not, you actually do have a personal brand. When you Google yourself, what pops up? These results are the first impression people will have of you. So is it a good one? Is the information you are sharing across LinkedIn, Facebook, and other social media sites consistent? Now, whether you have a job interview or you're giving a presentation, chances are someone's going to Google you to learn more about who you are. And the question is, do you want to allow your online reputation to take on a life of its own or control the narrative? With the rise of social media and the gig economy, it's become essential for all personal assistants to really embrace personal branding. So what is a personal brand? Well, Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, is famously quoted as saying, "Your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room." Gosh, that's big, isn't it? The term branding used to be reserved for businesses, but with the advent of social sites and the gig economy, personal branding has become fundamental. A personal brand is the unique combination of skills and experiences that make you who you are. It's your magic. It is how you present yourself to the world. Now, effective personal branding will differentiate you from your competition and allow you to work in collaboration with people in your industry. It's really more important than it ever has been. And I think for me, I've really noticed that those personal assistants that are present on social media and really sharing their magic consistently are getting noticed, not just by employers, but also their colleagues. And whether you're an employee or an entrepreneur, cultivating a personal brand has become so critical. So it's used a lot actually during an interview process. Now, back in 2018, there was a career builder survey and 70% of employers use social media to screen personal assistants during the hiring process. And a rather scary 43% of employers use social media to check on current employees. So it's really beneficial to make sure your personal brand is exactly as you would want it to be. It's good for you. And as you know, you are the CEO of you. So we want to get this right. You are representing your industry, your profession, your company at events and conferences all the time. You are becoming more and more visible in organizations. And actually, assistants are now direct influencers on bringing in new clients and encouraging relationships with existing. And the gig economy is not going away anytime soon, guys. You know, the average person switches roles now every 2 to 3 years. And we believe that the freelance and contract market, the VAs, for example, are going to make up over 40% of the economy by next year. So this is really big stuff, and it's getting bigger. And when we have the confidence in our personal brand, we can embrace the future. It's that powerful. So let's have a think about how we can really work on raising our game when it comes to personal branding. Now, let's start by looking at some examples of personal branding masters. And I really encourage you after this talk to look these guys up, because developing a great personal brand does not happen overnight. It's imperative to be able to communicate your purpose, your mission to your audience in a really heartfelt and genuine way. Here are some great examples of famous people who have built the most incredible personal brands through hard work, consistency, and a long-term focus. Let's start with my favourite, shall we? Oprah. So Oprah is undoubtedly the queen of personal branding. She is continually building equity in her brand, which has got an estimated net worth of 2.5 billion, according to Forbes. Oprah's always struck her core competency, which is challenging millions of viewers to live the very best lives possible by understanding their potential. And by being true to herself, she's inspired millions to be their very best selves. Now, Richard Branson, undeniably one of the most visible, successful, and well-known men alive. He's continually stayed true to his core values, including adventure and risk-taking. And by being himself, he has done exactly what other business leaders cautioned against, including crazy publicity stunts like dressing up as a flight attendant for a competing airline. Does anyone remember that? And his unorthodox style and commitment to his passions have really helped him to create a powerful, authentic personal brand. And Branson says to us, too many companies want their brands to reflect some kind of idealized, perfected image of themselves. And as a consequence of that, their brands acquire no texture, no character, and no public trust. Now, I want to talk to you about Marie Folio. She is one of my most inspiring teachers. And she's mastered the ability to share impactful content in a humorous and engaging way. I adore Marie Folio. She's got a following over 195 countries, and she really challenges her fans to change the way they live in order to change the way the world works. And she is authentic and passionate, particularly when it comes to helping others. Now let's talk about Gary Vaynerchuk, also known as Gary V, much more easy for me to pronounce. He started off presenting a YouTube channel, actually, and then signed a 10-book deal after this particular publisher found it. Now, he released a book called Crush It, which is a brilliant book if you want to pick up a book, guys, that's going to really help you. He's got a huge following. For me, he's a little aggressive in his personal brand, but it's very, very much true to who he is. And he's sharing his magic. And basically, whether you're looking for a better role, a promotion, to raise up our profession, this really is critical that we embrace this. Now, I'm not saying you have to be Oprah or Richard to have a great personal brand. It's literally just a matter of continually crafting and curating your digital presence. Most importantly, keep it real, because actually it's your honesty, transparency, and authenticity that will differentiate you in the long run. And I bet none of you are old enough to remember the Head and Shoulders strapline, which is you never get a second chance to make a first impression. And that is so true on social media. I want you to Google yourselves after this and check out any pictures that you might want to change. Take a look at anything that's out there on you that you just think, oh, that doesn't really represent me anymore, and alter it. So let's have a look at some tips for you that's going to really help you elevate you over, the next year or so, because I really want to help you to raise your personal branding game. So first things first is about taking responsibility over how you present yourself. And if you want to position yourself as an expert in the administrative field or become an influencer within your profession, this can really help raise your reputation. So we want you to have a really good think about what makes you uniquely you. So I want you to take a minute. I want you to pause this video when I've given you some instructions. So will you do this for me? Because this is really going to help you to start working out how to brand yourself. So I'd like you to write your name in the middle of a piece of paper, draw a circle around it, and then I want you to spend some time with writing 20 things about you that makes you you. Because this is not about business, this is about you personally. So your magic, the things that make you uniquely you. For me, they include everything from makes a really mean raspberry pavlova to has won a speaking competition to is petrified of heights. So I want you to pause this recording now and take some time out to write your 20 unique aspects that make you the magical person that you are. Okay, so welcome back. I'm really, really pleased that you managed to get 20. And if you haven't, pause this video and go back again, because I want you to really understand what you have to bring to the world. Because no one is you, and that is your magic. That is your brand. So let's have a little think about how we grow our personal brand. Now, I want you again to take a little time out in a moment, because this session is interactive and we'd be doing this in person if this was not for this crisis. So I want you to write a short statement about why people should follow you. Now, I know that so often assistants, because you're in service all the time, you forget your own magic so often. The assistants that I work with time and time again so struggle to get in touch with what makes them brilliantly them. Now, I promise you that if I asked your colleagues or your friends or your family, the people you've supported, the teams that you've looked after, I know that they would have so much to tell me about why other assistants and other people in the admin profession should follow you. So I really, really want you to take some time to figure out why people would follow you. So you know you've now got your 20 things that make you uniquely you. I want you to now pause this recording and take a few minutes to write 2 sentences about why people would follow you in the administrative profession. So can you do that for me? Will you pause this recording and just take some time out to write those 2 sentences? Fantastic work. So now we know the pieces of you that make you magically you. We've got your 2 sentences about why other people in your profession would follow you. So we're starting to understand what your credibility is, what your knowledge is, what your abilities are. So I really want you to get to grips with that. The easiest way, and sometimes more comfortable, is actually to let people know that you trust, the truth tellers in your life, that really understand who you are. Let them know that you're looking to raise your personal brand and that you really need to know what they think it is about you and your experience that you should be really lifting up into the light in your personal branding. So that piece of feedback is so helpful. It feels uncomfortable, particularly for us Brits. We're terrible at owning our own bragging rights. It's awkward, but do you know what? It is liberating and a huge boost, because I really know that our profession now more than ever needs us to come together and raise it up. And we can do that through personal branding. So let's look at some steps as to how we can improve our personal brand. So number 1 is we're going to research and create our personal branding statement. We're going to look at the audience and we're going to look at what they need from you. What can you share? How can you engage with your target audience, and define what success will look like for you in 2 months, 9 months, and a year's time. What would that be? Would it be that you have created some really positive articles? Would it be that you've shared some tips, some hacks? Would it be that you've joined some different networking groups? Would it be that you've embraced a speaking opportunity? It could be blogging, vlogging, podcasts. It could be simply sharing a hack in a group. Anything that's going to benefit others, because actually for personal branding to really work, it's not about the self, it's about what you can bring to others, how you can be of service, what skills and knowledge and abilities do you have to really help raise others up. Because do you know what? I bet that if you grab the hands of others and help pull them up, somebody above where you are is going to want to do the same thing for you, because they'll see what you're doing. It's important to celebrate any small win when it comes to personal branding. So I really want you to look out for a mentor. Look at somebody whose personal brand you just adore. Let them know that you think their personal brand is amazing. So I often will do this when I think someone's personal brand is amazing, or that what they're sharing is really enriching my life and my ability to deliver, both as a trainer and coach and as a search firm, because those are the two areas of our business. So I let Shah Wesmond know this week that she had been really influential in me upping my game in a certain area. And do you know what she did? She wrote back to me and actually gave me a couple of hacks that are invaluable. It's actually making my hair stand on end, even thinking about it. The flip side of sharing online is being able to receive negative feedback as well as your wonderful. So a little tip for you is, if you receive anything that you are struggling with, or you don't feel is true, or that potentially doesn't really feel very fair, all I want you to do is say thank you for sharing your opinion. That's it. Don't get involved in nasty debates or negative conversations, because remember, we want you to focus on attracting all the great stuff into your life, whether it's career opportunities, promotions, your big responsibility, which is alongside the rest of us raising the profession up. So I want you to really focus on ignoring the naysayers, okay? Now, once you've built even a small following, make sure you listen to what they're saying and find out why and what they need. Find out what you can bring for them, whether it's more hacks, whether it's more tips, whether it's another blog, whether it's simply reaching out and giving support to others. So I think those are some good first tips. Now, I know that there will be some resistance to this for a lot of you, because it's like, oh goodness, this is the Instagram generation, I'm just not interested. But actually, we can't afford not to be. The world is moving at this pace. And unless you embrace your personal brand and it being directly connected to who you are, you're really going to struggle in the future to achieve and be the fullest version of yourself. And we're going to struggle as an industry to really up our game. So it's worth embracing. Now, I know from personal experience, when I initially looked at building my personal brand and I looked at the influencers that I really respected, I really struggled to breathe life into my own brand. And that's because I struggled to be vulnerable. There's an amazing video by Brené Brown on TED Talks, about vulnerability, and I would so encourage you to have a look at it, because that one video let me know that I needed to be true to myself, and it wasn't something that I was going to create. And the more natural I was, the easier it was to remain consistent. And consistency in personal branding is probably the most critical element. So people that change their belief system at the drop of a hat cannot be trusted in what they say in their content. And trust is ultimately what followers want. It is about that ability to embrace our vulnerability in order that we can present an authentic, value-led brand to the world, both whether it's at work, externally, or online. And it meant that I had to do some real shedding of what I thought I should be or could be. And actually, I really, really understood from watching and reading a lot, actually, Brené Brown has some incredible work out there. I'd really encourage you to grab it. But I really got that I had to embrace all of me. It meant that I couldn't pretend I was somebody else, this sort of shiny version of myself, an idealized version of myself. It meant I had to embrace the fact that I am clumsy, I am quirky, I'm a real geek, I love learning, I'm a bit outspoken, I might use the odd swear word at times. It meant that I really had to step up into my authentic self. Now, this leads me on to a really neat way of moving into what should we be speaking up about. Now, I believe that we have a responsibility to use our personal brand to work in line with our beliefs. True, authentic personal brands are congruent between what somebody thinks, how somebody acts, and what they say. And for me, if something matters to me, it's my responsibility as part of this industry to really open my mouth and voice it in a way that's not aggressive or difficult, but might be a little bit controversial. It might actually stand for something that we really need to be having the conversation about. And two women that have really inspired me so much in this regard is Bonnie Lowe-Cramen and Lucy Brazier. Two incredible women that aren't afraid to have the conversations or start the conversations about things that are controversial, such as assistant pay, how this industry is regarded, the fact that it's also many don't understand that this is a career, not a job. Hello. And really raising the profile of the incredible skill set that assistants need today, which is broader and more far-reaching than has ever been the case before. And I would encourage you to really use your personal brand, stand up for things that matter to you, to start conversations that we need to be having in this industry, or at least to contribute to those that are speaking up about things that you value. And vulnerability is actually the ability to show our full selves and risk not being liked. And that was a big thing for me, certainly in terms of my personal brand, was taking the risk not to be liked. And it's a huge deal for most of us, I think. So take a look at your personal brand, take a look at what you stand for. And I just want you to pause this video now and write down 5 things that really, truly matter to you in terms of this industry right now. So that's 5 things that really, truly matter to you that you think we should be speaking up about. Okay, I'm really glad that you've done that. And it's going to give a much stronger why to why personal branding matters, because it's so much more than we initially think it is. And I want people to really stand up in the business world and take notice of our profession. And through really strong personal branding, that is going to happen more and more and more. And I think now you have an understanding of who you are, because remember, in 7 billion people, and there's 7 billion people on this planet, and the only person that can bring your magic is you, because you are unique. We are all unique in this world. And it's really important for you to know that your brand is actually your reputation. And I think that when I got my head around the fact that my brand was my reputation, I was suddenly able to start really taking it so much more seriously than I had. It's the perception of us held by the external world. And that is the combination of our personal attributes, values, drivers, strengths, passions that we draw from, that differentiates our unique promise of value and really helps those assessing us to determine whether we are the person that they want to collaborate with, work with, speak with. So really identifying these qualities and characteristics within you and creating a crystal clear, consistent message across multiple channels, online and offline. that are designed to resonate with your target audience. And it doesn't matter if that's one person or a million people. So I'm going to leave you now with the 10-step brand assessment and defining exercises that we use at the Academy to guide assistants through brand development. And I'd love you to devote a little time to this. You can replay this session, and in the end, I think you'll find your efforts are really eye-opening and invigorating. Okay, so number one in this 10-step process is, what is your vision and purpose? So look externally at the bigger picture of your vision for the world, and then internally at how you might help the world realize that vision. Think about one assistant-focused problem that you would like to see solved, or one area of our profession that you want to see transformed or improved. This is your vision. What role might you play in making your vision happen? This becomes your purpose. Number two is, what are your values? Your values are your guiding principles. These could be things like balance, being the best, agility, calmness, challenge, decisiveness, perseverance, drive, honesty, integrity, pragmatism, sensitivity, structure, teamwork, sharing, vitality, zeal. Number three is, what are your passions? What do you most enjoy doing, both in your personal life and work life? Have a really good think about all the activities, interests, or conversational topics that fascinate you and energize you. Your passions are the things that make you get out of bed at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning, or get you talking enthusiastically with others, a bit like I'm doing now, actually. How do your passions converge with what you are best at doing? Number four, what are your top goals for the next year, 2 years, and 5 years? Work on projecting what you intend to accomplish so that you can put together a strategic action plan as to how to get there, and project that to the world in how you're presenting yourself. What are your top brand attributes? What 3 or 4 adjectives best describe the value of what you bring to the profession? What words would you use to define your personality? And once you've pinpointed what you feel are the right kind of words, it's a great idea to consult a thesaurus to precisely nail those exact words. I mean, here are some of the possibilities, but for goodness sake, don't limit yourself to these. There are millions and millions of adjectives out there. Collaborative, resilient, forward-focused, connected, international, visionary, diplomatic, intuitive, precise, enterprising, ethical, genuine, accessible. Number 6, what are your core strengths or motivated skills? In what functions and responsibilities do you excel? For what things are you designated the go-to person for? What gap would your company be faced with if you suddenly left? I mean, let's face it, the possibilities are endless, but maybe here are some suggestions for you. Analysing, collaborating, leading, delegating, empowering others, forecasting, crunching numbers, anticipating risk, mentoring, visioning, innovating, managing conflict, defining needs. Could be writing, listening, or communicating. Number 7, and we're back to those truth tellers. Get feedback from those who know you best at work, at home, anywhere. Ultimately, the true measure of your personal brand is the reputation others hold of you in their hearts and in their minds. Notice how they introduce you to others. Ask them what your top brand attributes and core strengths are. How does your self-assessment jibe with their feedback? The 360 version of finding out what you're branding is so important, where you can collect feedback from people from different areas of your life, and suddenly you start getting all this juicy language and insights into how people really feel about you. Number 8 for me is to do various strengths assessments. There are so many online that are free, or you can do the traditional SWOT analysis and you can look at your strengths and weaknesses. You can look at what your potential value is. You can look at the opportunities of what you've got to bring and help you foresee really what you're facing by getting your message out there. I think any strengths assessment is an invaluable personal branding exercise that's really going to help you prepare for interviewing, future career growth, and any form of stability, actually. Number 9 is to really define your target audience. Where do you want to reach? Who do you want to help? How do you want to be of service? Who are the people in that field that you are going to look to for inspiration? Who is your Michelle Obama? Who are the people that are going to inspire you? And find out who those are and what sort of content they're putting out into the world and how you could work with that to capture the attention of your target audience. All of those things are really important, but number 10 is looking at how you differentiate yourself from other assistants. I have interviewed over 15,000 assistants in my career, and I promise you, not one of you is the same. Not one of you has the same way of doing things, the same skill set, the same beliefs, the same dedication, the same attributes, does the same job. Absolutely not. And this is why what you're sharing with the assistant community is so critical. What you're willing to bring, the hacks you might share, your quirks, your stories and how you've learned from them. It doesn't matter how small you think they are. They can be life-changing. I'm going to share with you something that's Alice Scutchley put out on her page. She runs Canary Wharf PA Club, and this one thing has changed my life. Okay, so this is how small something can be that you want to contribute, and the impact it can have can be humongous. It's the little window button on your keypad, and then you press the right arrow, and it splits your screen. Okay, you may think that is bloody obvious, Lucy. However, I did not know this could happen, and it's transformed my life and my work. And Alice put that out. Now, Alice shares hacks a lot, and oh my goodness, don't we all need them? Anything that's going to save me time, make my life easier, and allow me to do my work and get my message out into the world is surely going to be invaluable to anyone. So it can be the really small things that make the biggest of differences. So don't think you have to be a thought leader. Don't think you have to be a brilliant writer. I myself am actually dyslexic, so I really, really struggle with content writing. Doesn't stop me from putting my message out there. And that's going back to that vulnerability piece. I know I have something special to share with the world. I know I have a responsibility to the industry I've worked in for 22 years to use my voice and to do it with authenticity, for it to be value-led, to mean what I say and not be mean when I say it, and to lift others up. And I can't encourage you more. The personal branding piece for me is not about a pretty grid on Instagram, okay? I couldn't care less about that stuff. I know lots of people do, but not me. I'm just not built that way. What I'm interested in is our industry coming together, standing up for ourselves, using our voice, demanding the attention that we need, and making sure that we are noticed. And not just that we are offering real value out into the world. We know how important the assistant role is in businesses. We know it's the backbone. We know we are the people you are the people that are dotting the I's, crossing the T's, writing the policies, scanning the horizon for problems, handling projects, conflicting with multiple demands, having to be disciplined, having to show up every single day and serve, whether you're in the mood or not. Do you not think the world needs to hear about this? That we don't need to share our messages, our value, our proposition, that we don't need to talk about the subjects that matter? We do. And we can only do that if together we start really looking at our personal branding and sharing that with the world. And I promise you, if you do anything with a sense of purpose, with heart at the center, every single business that I have set up, The teams I've set up, my heart is in the middle of those. And if you do the same with your personal branding and embrace all of who you really are, all of it, including for me, how clumsy I am, all of it, and you're willing to get a little vulnerable, but you do it with your heart at the center, I promise you our industry will go from strength to strength. We can hold each other's hands, raise each other up through personal branding. If you want to reach out to me to talk to me about any of the issues that this has brought up, or you want to reach out and talk to me about any of the books I've mentioned, or my thought leaders, or my inspiration, you are so welcome. And you can reach out to me in either of my two businesses. So Lucy at C and, which is the AND, so Lucy at candcsearch.co.uk, or Lucy at C and AND, Lucy at candcacademy.com. And I am always available. And please remember, out of 7 billion people in the world, you are unique, and that magic deserves to be shared.